Hi, I'm Martin McGill, sheltering from the rain here on the boardwalk amongst the marsh garden. Welcome to Slimbridge's Wildlife Weekly. Now we're looking closely at what's happened recently with the weather. We've had some very cold, icy conditions which has had an impact on some of the wildlife here. Also focusing on the Buick swans, just to see how they're getting on, preparing themselves, and also the first signs of spring. There's actually quite a few of those around at the moment. Well, the recent cold snaps have meant that there's quite a bit of ice around the site, and when the shallow water areas freeze up, the reaction for the wildfowl that you expect to see there and the waders is to either move out onto the estuary in the case of the ducks, or to disperse over a wider area in the case of the wading birds. It did mean that I was able to catch some very entertaining video of a stoat which was trying to mesmerise its prey. So it was jinking around, and it's probably the first time this animal has seen ice, perhaps. It's actually sort of slipped around on it, but it seemed to be really enjoying playing, slipping around, sliding, and trying to attract in a couple of birds that were following it, actually mobbing it. So there was a Chetty's warbler and a wren interested in what it was doing, and the stoat was trying to pull them in, perhaps bring them within distance so it could make a meal out of one of them, but they're too canny for that. No problems there. It just had to make do with a bit of ice skating and go about its business. Now, the recent cold weather has brought a few more extra Buick swans to us this winter, which ultimately ended up in us getting a count of 217, so that's the highest count this winter. And a brilliant place to catch up with them is to come across and visit the Peng Observatory in the afternoons. We do a commentated wild bird feed. We'll be able to tell you a little bit more about the swans there as they arrive on the lake. Now, we have noticed this week that the Buick swans are just beginning to show signs of pre-migration behaviour. So this is usually reflected in them becoming less interested in grazing out on the reserve and actually spending more time sleeping. So we're seeing this especially out on the tack piece. Not so many birds are going out to the green fields to graze. And I think there's a good chance that this week could be the last opportunity to catch up with the highest numbers of the swans this winter. The first clear night that we have, we could see them starting to depart. So visit this week during half term, you should catch up with all the swans that are here. Otherwise, we'll just see what plays out over the next week or two. Now, as we finish February and enter into March, this is the last opportunity really to see the large flocks of birds which are out on the tack piece. So thousands of golden plover, lapwing, dunlin and widgeon. They're all gathered there. They're probably going to be off fairly soon, so catch them while you can. Now we're here feeling a little bit chilly today because of a shower, but there are actually quite a few signs of spring around the site, from oyster catchers arriving back on site. Some of them have been here for 2 or 3 weeks now, so they've actually arrived back to claim breeding territories. But we are seeing things like avocet turning up on the reserve. Actually witnessed mute swans nest building yesterday, and generally it's just a feel, different calls of birds around the reserve which are indicating that they're starting to lay down territories. Now, earlier we talked about the signs of spring. This is mostly in the form of birdsong. Lots of common bird species are singing away here at the moment. There's actually a great tit calling over here now. It's not just those, there's lots of other species which are singing. Brilliant time to catch up with those common birds and learn those calls before they're inundated by species which are arriving from Africa. So come down, try and learn some of these common bird sounds. If you've enjoyed this video, then feel free to share it with your friends and family via Facebook or Twitter. Or alternatively, do sign up to the newsletter. That will give you more details as to upcoming events here at WWT Slimbridge.